Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into this week's episode of Facebook Live. And we're super excited today to have Coach Herm Edwards with us, who's currently, as you might be able to tell from behind him, at Arizona State University, where he is currently the head football coach. Many of you have seen him on ESPN as an analyst, obviously was a head coach in the NFL, played in the NFL, has been an amazing supporter of Positive Coaching Alliance over the many years. He has kids who are in youth sports and obviously interacts with college student athletes on a daily basis. And so we're super excited to be chatting with him today just about all things happening currently, and then also, some tips and tools moving forward to when we're past the situation that we're in with coronavirus. And so, Herm, just want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for letting me be a part of this, what I call electronical phenomenon now in the world, right? Electronics, they rule everything. Everyone's on a picture, whether it's a phone, it's an iPad. It's amazing how all of a sudden we're always connected to somebody through this thing of uh, phone, iPad.
Yep.
It's a
And here we
wonderful thing.
are.
Yes.
Yep. E-learning. We're doing Facebook Lives, online courses. We're all making the adjustment. And so, yeah, just thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you who are tuning in, I'll be following along on the comments. And so if people want to ask a question to Herm, I'll make sure that gets asked to him. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions in the feed. I see Jessica Lacayo, Beth Maloney, Maggie Hatcher, Kelly Spalding. See you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. So we want this to be interactive. So again, please comment in and ask us any questions that you have. So just to kick us off, can you talk a little bit about, how you've been connecting with your team and your fellow coaches during this specific time over the last month or so?
Well, basically the same way we're connected right now, through a monitor for the most part, and Zoom meetings are being held from our coaches to our players. This is how we communicate in today's world. Now, there's some little form of communication. There's a coach or two that might come into the office every once in a while, but for the most part, we're all separated right now. And I think you have to be very organized in today's world on your preparation to have a meeting with your players when you know they're in their homes, wherever they may be. It's kind of interesting when you turn the Zoom thing on. The first thing you have to remind players is when you turn the volume down, you got people in the background, dogs are barking. It's like, oh, here we go.
The mute button.
Nope, just mute. That's the first thing you say. Will you please turn off your mute? So that's how we're communicating, and we're getting a lot of things done, but it's not the same as being around the players. When you walk into the building, generally, there's a lot of energy. There's no energy in the building right now because there's not a lot of people here at all.
Right. And are there any specific, are you giving them workouts to do virtually,
Well,
homework
we're
assignments?
no, we're going through. We're having film study. We're coaching football. We really are, and the coaches have done a nice job of being organized. Whether we're installing on offense, defense, whatever it may be, we're looking at some of the tape that we have on file. As far as we had some spring practices, we were able to do that. So we're going through cut-ups. There's a teaching process of what we're doing right now with our football team. And I think every college coach that has an opportunity to do this, and we're all doing the same thing, is we're trying to teach our team, although they're not, a hand away from us. They're all over the place, and the players actually are doing a good job of focusing in on the information that the coaches are providing them.
That's great. And then if you flip to like the athlete side and for, parents or coaches who might be watching this and want to relay some advice to the athletes or for athletes who are watching themselves right now, do you have any advice for, whether that's a high school athlete that they can be doing themselves to stay
Well,
motivated, to stay ready?
well, you never get lost time back. That's the one thing I do know. And what you do with your time until we actually get back to functioning again as a society. Now, I don't know if we ever get back to normal, whatever normal will be after this thing passes. Um, I think you got to, reflection to me is very important in moments in your life. And this is a time to reflect on your goals, what you aspire to achieve, a plan of how to go about doing that. And then also kind of look back at what you've done and maybe what you haven't done and ask yourself the question, why? You have a lot of time now to carve out your path of what you maybe want to become. Maybe this incident has changed your thinking on maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to do something else. We live in this world that's very noisy. We live in a noisy world. Well, at this point in time, the world's not noisy. Very quiet, still. Time to think. And I think you have to ponder that on your own and just kind of figure it out, kind of piece it all together. And that's kind of what kind of the information that I kind of present to my players.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Christy Miller said, my 7th grade quarterback says, hi, coach. Christy,
Tell him this. Tell him good quarterbacks. It's the only thing I ever tell a quarterback. Don't throw the ball to the other guy. You'll be fine. Just don't throw it to the other guy. You'll be good again. Those are bad guys. They're trying to get the ball. Don't throw it to them. You'll be okay.
I love it. So a question came in from John. John, thanks so much for watching. John is asking, how have you handled recruiting during this time?
Good question. And we continue to recruit. And we're doing a nice job of actually getting guys involved in the process of recruiting. I'm going to talk to a young man later on today. He's actually going to call me. So the recruiting process goes on. What's hard now in the recruiting, kids generally have the ability to come on campus, or you get to go out on the road to go see them. That's no longer happening. You can't go on the road. So you're trying to find ways now on their schedule, and you're going way ahead of maybe when they can come visit the campus when the season starts. But we are still recruiting. That recruiting is college football. It's 90% of your life you recruit.
Yeah, good question, John. And I encourage other people who are watching to chat in and ask your own questions as well for Herm, and I'll pass them along. I see them coming through here. So just want to say thank you guys for tuning in here with our session with Herm Edwards. I want to shift a little bit. A lot of the Positive Coaching Alliance community tuning in, are coaches and parents. And so thinking about in general some sports parenting advice. You have, kids that are currently in youth sports, but what would be some of your advice for sports parents that are watching?
Well, I think it's just not being a sport parent, being a parent at all is important. And I think right now we need positive role models. And we have the ability to do that as parents. When you, as a role model, you send a powerful message to young people. I've always said this, your kids reflect what is said around the supper table and inside the home. They kind of reflect that. All the information they gather, we're all information gatherers. Everything we've learned, we've actually in our life have learned from someone else. I learned a lot of great things from my mom and dad, right? I was fortunate. I had a 2-home family, a 2-parent family, but I learned a lot from them, man. And I think now is a great time to reconnect as a parent with your children, because you have a lot of time now. They are no longer going in school all day and playing a sport after school. They are actually around you. And you can't let them get on that phone and spend 4 or 5 hours a day and go, okay, I'm going to just let them stay in the room. No. You actually can have a conversation, have a game plan during the day of, what? We're going to have some family time here. We're going to talk about life. That might be hard on some parents because they probably aren't asked to do that a lot anymore. But all of a sudden, your kids they're in your home. Like all day. So what are you doing? That's part of parenting. That's how it used to be before, we had the ability to go out and do all these things. Well, all of a sudden, we're all in the same little tent, right? We're in our homes and we're trying to function and not stand people's way. And it's easy for us to run into the bedroom and look at your iPad and play games and watch movies. How much family time are you spending? In an hour a day? Just with your parents? Just talking about life?
Right.
Kind of interesting.
Try it out. See what happens.
It might work. You might learn something about your kids. They might learn something about you too. You sit and talk long enough.
I love it. So Brandon wrote in, he said, what would a Herm Edwards parents meeting sound like? So a lot of times a parents meeting. So thinking about if you're the coach, obviously college players, you're probably not doing this, but for let's say you're a high school coach and you are having a preseason meeting with the parents.
Oh, I would tell them to be a parent. Don't be the coach.
Simple
parents
and plain as
parent,
that.
coaches coach, players play. I would say, be a parent. Be involved, but don't be overbearing. They will fall. They need to fall. And coaches are there to catch them. When you're an athlete, and we talked about this earlier, the thing I love about the athletics, regardless of what sport you play, you're willing to expose yourself. Most people most people aren't willing to expose themselves. In other words, when you go out on the court or wherever the field that you play on, whether you're a swimmer, it doesn't matter, a golfer, it doesn't matter, a basketball player as you were, and a good basketball player, by the way, a football, whatever sport you play, you expose yourself. There are so many life lessons you learn in sports that you can take and live your life with that way. That's how I learned it. I mean, yeah, you expose yourself. And look, I have 2 daughters. You mentioned they're athletes. I don't coach them. I don't want to coach them. I just want to be dad. I just want to go and just kind of watch them and just go, okay. And, and if they don't make the time that they should have made, they deal with the frustration. And then I said, what I tell them? I said, we'll talk to your coach. Your coach is coach. I don't coach you. I'm just your parent.
Yeah.
I'm just your parent. I don't want to coach you. I don't want to coach my kids. I don't. I just want to be dad. I want to watch them grow and just go, okay, enjoy it. Have fun in what you're doing, because I just think when I don't want to cross that line, I don't. And my wife is hitting me in my ribs, why don't you say something to him? I said, honey, I don't coach him. I just want to be dad. I just want to be their dad. And and I got a hard enough time doing that. I just want to be a really good dad. All right, that's just me. That's what I do. I'm not telling her what to do, but there comes a point you gotta let them go. You gotta let them go.
Yep, I think that's amazing advice. To the person who asked the question as a baseline, starting off a parent meeting. Be the parent. It's a parent meeting. Be the parent.
You get to run the meeting. That's when you get to be the coach, when you're the parent. You can put your coaching hat on and say, what do you coach? I'm the parent. I'm coaching right now. Here's the deal.
There you go. All right, so switching gears to another question. Rich Bradley. Rich, thanks for watching. Rich is saying, Coach, I've always admired your strength of moral character. How do you implement character building activities into your program? So character building activities.
Well, it starts with the leader, and it's, we have a saying here, words and actions. Your words and your actions match up. And it starts with me. It's called integrity. And it's not sometimes. It's all the time. And I tell our players this, look, it's sport. In sports, like in life, everyone is an independent contractor. We all want our own success. I get it. That's what's great about sports. In life, too. We have ambitions. We have goals. But there comes a point when you decide, you know what, I'm going to join a team. You're still an independent contractor. You are. And you want success. But there's going to come a time when someone's going to define your role. And when your role is defined, you got to understand something. Your role is very important on this team, regardless of what it is. And you may feel it's not big enough at the time that you presented with the role. Everybody wants to be the star, but no. Here's your role, and then do it with energy, and do it in the mindset of I want to respect my teammates, and I want to respect the game that I'm playing. See, there's where I have issues. When you don't respect the game, and you don't respect the teammates, you know what? Shame on you, because it doesn't work there. No game that we play or compete in, the game is always bigger than any coach or any player.
Yes.
It just is. Regardless of, there's ways you can leave your name on the mantle, and they can retire your jersey. The game's going to continue to go.
And it was there before you got there.
And what did you do to make the game better as a coach or as a player? Why is it going to be better because you played or coached? What are you doing for the people that follow you? To me, that's important. Don't get caught up in you so much. It's us. And how are you promoting and building the game for the next generation, the young people that play it and young coaches?
Yep. Good question, Rich. And I see there's a lot of hearts and likes going across the screen as you're talking.
Good. Well, we like hearts. We like hearts.
So let's see here. So Sheree, thanks so much for tuning in. She's wondering, best advice to our student athletes about resiliency dealing with canceled seasons, especially seniors that don't have a last season, that don't have a graduation. So any advice to student athletes? And Sheree, thanks again for that question.
Well, it's very difficult, but I think it reminds us of this, is that we control nothing except our attitude. That's all we control every day we wake up. We have this feeling of that life just kind of happens, and we have this thing all worked out. You know, we have like life worked out. It's like, this is what I'm going to do, and this is going to happen the next day, and I do this on Tuesday, I do this on Wednesday. And that's great for people to do that because I'm very structured that way. But the first thing I realize every time I get ready to go to sleep, I tell myself this: the unexpected is going to happen. It just does. That's life. It just does. No one expected this. No one expected that you had a flat. No one expected that, I ran out of gas. No one expected, oh my goodness gracious, I lost my homework, right? Whatever. The unexpected happens. But here's the key. How do you handle it? How do you handle that? And I think we live in this world where we think that I got this thing planned out, what's going to happen. And then when it doesn't happen the way that it should, because of how you have it played out in your brain, how do you handle that? I feel bad for all those seniors that have missed out on the opportunity to finish their senior season. Athletes, just people in general. The graduate. How about all the people that are going to graduate? I mean, my daughter, she's going to leave the 8th grade, going to the 9th grade. That's a big deal for her. And she's like, Daddy, she said, Daddy, it's not fair. And I had to tell her this. I said, honey, who said life's fair? Life's not fair. Life's never been fair. Life is not fair. That's some fairy tale. Life's fair. No, it's not. Life's about opportunity. And when the opportunity presents itself, how do you react? It's not life ain't never been fair. We grow up thinking, you tell the little kids that life is it. No. Life is hard. Life is hard. But life is wonderful. If you understand this, you got to understand this. Your attitude controls what you do that day. And that's the only day you have given, is the day you get up and wake up. And what are you going to do that day? Don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will bring its own problems. Just live today and live it to your fullest. And if you do that, you'll be okay. I never try to go to bed angry. Here's how I live my life. I trust my hopes, not my fears. I trust my hopes. And I think we got to realize that. Don't you trust your hopes, not your fears. If you do that, you got a shot.
There you go. There you have it. I love it. So Amy Manson wrote in with a question as well. And again, we're getting to the questions that people are chatting in, so keep them coming. We're going to be live for about another 12 minutes, so make sure you get your questions in. Amy's wondering, back to the topic of recruiting. She's wondering that outside of talent, so outside of the skills of the football player, is there anything that is an automatic turnoff for you and your staff, that if you see some type of behavior, you're saying no way? And on the flip side, is there anything that you're like, man, I want that guy?
Well, I think, as I said before, is the player's ego so big it can't be managed? Look, to be a good athlete, you better think you're a good player. If you don't, then I got a problem. I already got a problem. And you got to think you're the best player that walks on the field. I get all that. But when your ego becomes bigger than the team, right, then you got a problem, because you got to manage that. You don't want to spend 80% of your time managing one person. That becomes a problem. And here's the deal. This is what I want to know with an athlete, whatever sport they play. Do they love the game that they compete in? Or do they love what the game provides them? You better love the game. Don't tell me what it's going to provide you, because then that's a whole different thinking. Right? They got to love the game, because in most sports, you played one. Let me ask you this question. How many times did you practice more than you play your whole life? Your whole life, you practice more than you play.
Oh, yeah.
You got to love that part. You got to love the preparation part of it. The game's easy. It's the preparation. It's the preparation part of it. Do you love that? Do you want to do that? The game takes care of itself. The game's easy. It's all that other stuff you got to do. Think about all the preparation you had to do before you even played a regular season game in basketball. Think about all that. All the dribbling, all the stuff. No one's in the gym. All the layups,
running hills,
all the free throws. No, whatever you're doing, right? Just to play a game, you're going back doing a lot of practicing to do this, right? I want players that love that. When they don't like that part, I'm a little nervous. You always want talented players. The second part of it, you want talent, because coaches give no player talent. God gives them talent. A talented player that's willing to learn, you want those kind of players. You really do. A talented player that thinks they know all, just going to want to live off their talent, they're going to hit a ceiling. It'll take them so far, but eventually it'll catch up to them. The thing that most players have to understand, no coach has ever given a player talent in any sport. Coaches give them knowledge. Are they willing to accept the knowledge? You got to be a sponge. You got to learn something.
Coaches love coaching coachable players.
Coachable and available. Be available, right? A lot of players are coachable, but they're not available.
Yeah.
They can't practice. They're always hurt. It's like, what? Be available. You can be coachable, but be available. There's two sides to that. Oh, coach, I'm coachable. Yeah, but you missed 3 practices already. Come on, what are you doing? I mean, I don't know. Be available.
Yep. So sticking another question about recruiting from Nikki Donlin. Nikki, thanks for watching. So Nikki is wondering, do you think college coaches will make an adjustment in recruiting timelines and what ages/grades they're recruiting?
Well, I think for us, let's just say we're on the 2020. We're done with the 20 class, the 21 class, the next class. We're at 21s, right? We're at 21s, some 22s, depending on who they are. I think every coaching staff has a different way of how they go about recruiting, but it's about relationships. When are you willing to build a relationship with the athlete, right? Because there's this process of recruiting. Young people love to get recruited. They like the notoriety of getting recruited. They like people calling them. But then there comes a point at the end, and they get tired of it. Early, they like it. They like it. They want to get recruited. It's funny when the head coach when they call the head coach and the head coach talks to them and all that stuff, right? And the parents like it too, because the parents say, guess who? Guess where we're visiting? What school? And it's great because that's what makes it go around. So I just think every college handles it different. How is it set up? And we have a way of going about the way we try to recruit, and then everyone does it different. But it's the lifeblood of college sports. And see, in pro sports, you don't have to worry about that because you draft them. In college, they pick you. So it's about relationships. You don't get to pick them. They actually pick you.
Yep. So Ryan Virtue wrote in, Coach, you've coached some of the best athletes in the game. What is the one most important quality you have seen in your players that makes them great leaders? So one most important quality you've seen in your players that makes them great leaders. And while you're thinking about that, I'll just say one last time, we'll be on here for another 5 minutes. So if other people want to have questions, please raise it in.
Their work ethic. They're the hardest workers on the team. The great ones. Look, you're up there in the Bay Area. If I asked fans, Jerry Rice, what would they say? Whoa. Work ethic, right? I was just on the podcast with Ronnie Lott and his daughter 2 days ago. Ronnie Lott. They go, oh, work ethic. The great players get it. They love the preparation. A friend of mine passed away, played your sport, Kobe Bryant. If you close your eyes and you say Kobe Bryant, you think what? Ultimate competitor. Ultimate. That's what they do. They get that part. And they prepare to do that. They just separate themselves. John Lynch played for me in Tampa, right? Going to have a draft. He's a GM now. Great player. Captain of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on defense. Preparation. That's what they do, and everybody sees it. Everybody sees it. It just sticks out. They go, whoa, watch this guy prepare. That's what they bring.
Work ethic. Good question, Ryan. Thanks for asking that. So Joshua Coots wrote in saying that he's a huge ASU fan, love what you and the staff are doing to improve the culture. He is wondering just about this coming season, and given the coronavirus, obviously there's a ton of uncertainty. And he's asking, how do you keep, or how are you planning to keep your players engaged through the season, that if it may never happen?
Well, I live by hope, not by fear, and I'm thinking it's going to happen. And I keep telling my players that the problem is we don't know when it's going to start. And so here comes the preparation, because no one's going to care when they say it's starting. We're starting. We're going to go. And what are you doing? What are you doing right now to prepare yourself to play? And that's the conversation the coaches are having with the players, and the players are kind of getting to say, now they've never been done. This is new to them because they're like on their own a little bit. And we'll find out when we come back who's been working out, who's been doing the running on their own, right? It's one thing to sit at home and go Zoom meetings. It's another thing to get out and go run a little bit on your own, right? And that's right. The challenge. That's the challenge.
Yeah. So final question, we talked a little bit about, Positive Coaching Alliance has launched this campaign. Life is a team sport, right? And using all the lessons like you talked about that sports presents to be a better human, a better teammate in life. And now more than ever, it's so important to be a good teammate given everything that we're going through. And so we're doing a virtual high five challenge to fill other people's emotional tanks, call people out, truthful and specific things that people are doing that are good, just to give them a quick shout out. And so is there anyone that you want to give a virtual high five to?
Well, right now I'm going to give a high five for everyone that lives in America, and the fact we're all on the same team. And what I would tell them is this, is that like in sports and like in life, emotion and energy make the world go round. But facts, common sense, and your ability to stay calm slows you down. Just remember those things, and you'll be fine. Just remember.
High five to America. I love it.
There you go. They got it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Coach, and appreciate everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next Tuesday for our Tips and Tools Tuesday, and next Thursday. Make sure you like our page so you can get notified for all the other sessions that we'll be doing. And again, Coach, we're thinking of you out there in Arizona. We hope the season gets, back on track at some point whenever it makes sense to do so for the health of everyone. And a lot of people are just writing in, thank you so much for your time. And again, thanks for being on PCA's National Advisory Board, and we look forward to doing this again soon.
Pleasure's all mine. Everybody stay safe, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Bye, guys.